Here we are, March 25th. I can guarantee you that sometime later today, one of our friars, Father Jude, will send me a text or an email that will say, 9 months till Christmas. Every 25th of any month, he'll count down how many months it is till Christmas and send me a text. It's our joke between one another. But today, literally, the Word became flesh and came to dwell among us. On this feast of the Annunciation of the Lord, Mary's willingness to say yes to the will of God enabled her to become a particular vessel of grace, of God's grace. And we all have our own, I hope, particular image of that Annunciation in our mind's eye, whether it be a painting or a statue of the Annunciation that we might recall. For me, my favorite depiction of the moment of the Annunciation is found at the Cloisters. It's one of the sections of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It's in northern Manhattan, and it's found in a small preserved chapel because the Metropolitan Museum at the Cloisters is a French castle, chateau, that was brought here in the 19th century. And in this particular chapel, they have an altarpiece from the 15th century, and the triptych on the altarpiece has St. Joseph on one side, probably a portrait of the donor, but the Dutch painter, Robert Campen, depicts in the central panel Gabriel and Mary, and a table between them. And Mary is depicted in a rose garment, signifying joy and lightness and grace. We just celebrated Laetare Sunday, rejoice. Mary is a woman of rejoicing. Yet if you look closer at the painting, at the depiction, as I often have, I've been 2 or 3 times, the candle, there's one candle on the table, but the candle has no flame on it. It is simply the painter is very canny. He depicts a whiff of when the light was extinguished, indicating for those who have eyes of faith that no longer was light needed in the world by artificial means. But at that moment when Mary said, "I come to do your will," yes, Lord, she enabled the Word of God, the light of Christ, to come into the world and into her womb. And if you look more into that painting, from a ray of light coming from a window is a tiny figure, a cherub perhaps, carrying a cross. And that ray of light is intended to go right to Mary, right to her womb, where again, her yes enabled the light of the world to come into the world. Her yes enabled her to be that particular vessel of grace. And for us Franciscans, Francis, in his salutations of Mary, has a particular salutation that I love a great deal. Hail his tabernacle. When Mary said yes to becoming that vessel of grace, she became the first tabernacle in her own womb. We friars are able to come to the Eucharist today personally, but many of you are with us spiritually and are making spiritual communion. Look to Mary today and pray to her and see in Mary that particular vessel of grace and that particular tabernacle that is with you to guide you through your day. Make your spiritual communion today with us, but also whenever you pray the Hail Mary, for Mary gives us the light of the world. And I also have to add, On my first visit to the cloisters, I was so enamored of that painting that I didn't realize I was walking toward it. And I must have set off some hidden alarm, because somehow I found the security guard grabbing me by the shoulder and pulling me back and away from the painting. It's the first time I learned social distancing.